talking.
But that's kind of irrelevant. But that's fine.
I know. I'm talking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a different question. All right. Did he?
Because I want everybody to know that's listening. Like her intention when she drove towards him isn't relevant to him using force.
Yeah.
It's how he interpreted it. But go ahead.
All right. Did the officer shoot at Renee from the front or from the side of her car?
Both.
He shot through the side window, though. That was where the fatal shot came from.
Yeah.
Right. So that means that she was not running over him at the time that he shot the lethal shot.
So we're talking a matter of milliseconds here. So as she's coming at him and he's moving out the way, law enforcement is trained to stop the threat, and that includes up to deadly force. So as he's moving out the way and shooting, we're talking about a rapidly evolving event, right? So once you get into that mode, you're shooting. And this is precisely why 2020 hindsight is never taken into account when law enforcement officers or use of force in general is typically applied.
All right, yeah, but that's...
Because it's easy to Monday morning quarterback and say, oh, well, bro, technically, let's put the protractor over here. If you move 2 degrees this way, you would have been fine. Why'd you shoot from the side? They're trained to stop the threat.
Also, they're trained to use lethal force as an absolute last resort. The fact that he was able to get to the side of the car into safety shows that he was able to survive the car without fatally shooting Renee. So shooting her, the imminent threat was gone. He no longer has the right to use lethal force in that situation because there is no imminent threat anymore. He was able to get to the side of the car.
Well, keep in mind that she still hit him. He still got injured. He didn't know who was behind him. He was there with other people. So when law enforcement shoots to stop the threat, it's not just for their for them immediately. It's also for other law enforcement and other civilians as well. Because if you're telling someone, get out the car, they back up, you pull out your gun, and then they drive towards you, how are you going to interpret that? Okay, this person clearly doesn't care. They're reckless. I'm shooting to stop this threat, not just as a threat for me, but a threat for my colleagues and other people and other civilians that are in the area. That's how they apply force.
That's kind of ridiculous. There were no
That's
law enforcement officers in the path of Renee. She was driving straight forward.
That's the law.
What's the law? The law is that lethal force
stop the threat.
Lethal force is the last threat. He can stop the threat some other way. They can start a police chase, but killing her is not an option there. He had no threat to his life at that point.
He absolutely did.
How? He jumped to the side. He survived.
He got hit in the process. Also, here's another thing. That guy got dragged like 6 months earlier by someone.
That's what I'm going on to. So I'll talk about that with you after he's done.
Yeah. So that actually strengthens my argument because.
No, it weakens it.
Oh, really? It weakens it?
Yeah, because you should not have a shell-shocked. I'm sorry for taking you away from the mic.
Yeah. Well, let's finish him first, and then go ahead. You keep going.
All right. My main point overall is that it is a law in all law enforcement operations that when the imminent threat is gone, which it was because he jumped to the side of the car and he was no longer getting ran over whatsoever, lethal force is simply not an option.
Again, we're talking a matter of milliseconds here. He's moving out the way as he's shooting, okay? So this is all happening rapidly. It can't be like, okay, I'm out the way. I think not going to pull the trigger no more. No, dude, we're talking about literally milliseconds here. And again,
it's the fact that he got out of the way.
He's trained, but here's the thing.
It's the fact that he was able to get out of the way that shows that he was not an
But he got
threat.
hit in the process. He got hit in the process, and his job is to stop the threat.
That you're ignoring the fact that he's out of the way. Like,
Okay.
I don't understand why you're
when she
ignoring
drove
it.
at him and
Was
he got
out of the way
let me
or
ask you
not?
this.
Was
Let
he
me
out
ask
of
you
the
this.
way? No,
Let's
you
let me
answer
keep
me.
this
Was he
simple.
out of the way or not?
Buddy.
What?
Let's go through this simply because you got to look at this objectively. Look at this through your feelings.
Objectively.
Yes, objectively.
Okay,
so he
wait,
gets
wait.
hit.
Wait, you won't answer to me if he got out of the way or not. But
He got
I'm,
out the
I'm,
way.
I'm the
He
one
got
using
out the way.
feelings.
But
okay,
was she a threat coming
so
at
he
him?
wasn't in a okay,
Was
he was
she-
out of the way.
was
the
she-
car hitting him?
was he-
No, you
what-
can't just ignore that. You
No.
can't just ignore that fact.
I'm asking you a question.
Okay, what's your question?
Was she a threat when she drove at him with the car?
Yes.
Okay, and he ended the threat. Done.
Did he shoot her when he was driving towards
She was
him,
a
or
threat
did he shoot her
as soon as
when
she
he was on
came.
the side of her, though?
As soon as she came at him, she became a threat, and at that point, he has every right to end the threat.
It's the last resort. So if he was able to get out of the threat without killing her, it's no longer an imminent threat.
No, because it's a threat not just to him, but other people as well.
What other people?
He was there with several of his colleagues.
And were any of them?
And then there's also
were
civilians.
Were
Who
any
knows?
of them being ran over?
Again, like I said, but as soon as she drove at him,
Okay, by
she
that
became
logic-
a threat, and he stopped the threat. That's it.
By that logic, it's like if I see someone on the street with fellow law enforcement officers, it's a potential threat to other people. So therefore, I have the right to detain him or something. Like what does that even mean?
She was an imminent threat because she came at him,
But
and he
she
got hit
wasn't
in
an
the
imminent
process.
threat anymore. When imminent means at the time. if he was able to get to the side, then that means she wasn't an imminent threat to him anymore.
She literally was, because he got hit. Dude, again, this is why they're trained to stop the threats.
They're also trained to use lethal force as a
She
last
became
resort.
a threat,
They're also
and
trained
he
to
used
use
lethal force
as
to
a last
subdue the
resort.
threat, and that's what happened.
Subdue what threat? He got to the side of her.
Again, you're going off of 2020 hindsight. We go off of what was going in through his mind at the time. Lawful commands are done. Wife is saying, just drive. She backs up, drives towards him. He's obviously surprised. He gets out the way as he's shooting at her to stop the threat. Legally justified, my friend.
Wait,
now,
so
whether
you're
you
saying
interpret it as a threat or not from a Monday morning quarterback perspective, quite frankly, is irrelevant. He's justified in this shooting because he was there at the time and actually was dealing with the threat. And that's how he dealt with it. And that's why he's legally justified.
Okay.
Like, you might not like it. You might not agree with it. But the reality is that he was justified, which is why they're not prosecuting him.
Dude, the reality is that he knew he survived when he jumped to the side of it, right? He should have just stopped right there. He's a trained officer. He's able to not pull the trigger at that point. He could have jumped to the side, realized, okay, the car's not coming at me anymore. It's no longer an imminent threat. I no longer have the right to shoot and kill her.
Can we do teamwork, please?
Yeah, you just don't. I don't think you understand tactics, which is fine.
I don't think you understand like law enforcement policy.
Yeah, you definitely don't.
Oh, I definitely
you
don't.
definitely don't.
Yeah.
You never worked in law enforcement. I did. I understand how it goes. And when someone's coming at you with a car, it's easy to sit here and be like, just get out the way, dude. Bro, if someone's coming at you like that, like trying to end your life,
I understand
and you're
that, but
interpreting
he
it that
did
way,
get out of
you're
the
going
way.
to empty
The
that
difference
mag.
is that he did
You're
get
gonna
out of the
empty
way.
that mag.
He did get out.
Barely. Barely.
Okay.
So if someone comes at you with a knife, right?
Yeah.
And they nick you with it, and they
Yeah.
get you, like they try to go for your neck, but they get you in the chest.
Yeah.
Are you gonna sit there and be like, well, they're not an imminent threat anymore, bro?
That's not comparable.
you know?
That's not comparable at all because a person with a knife can easily just turn around and stab you again.
Yeah. But again, she hit him with the car, and the car's a deadly weapon.
Can you acknowledge that comparison was absolutely stupid?
No, they're both deadly weapons. Whether it's a car or a knife, it's a deadly weapon.
But the difference is a knife attack can happen multiple
She's
times.
showing clear disregard for him, and who else might she run over in the process?
Yeah,
Again,
but
remember they
can
had
I see how a knife is
they had it
completely
surrounded.
different?
They had the vehicle. Law enforcement was all around it. So if she clearly showed the disregard of backing up and then driving into him as he has his gun there and he's giving her lawful commands alongside the other guy, a reasonable person can interpret, hey, this person is not going to stop and they're going to keep doing this. So I need to end the threat, not just for myself, but for my colleagues and for other civilians, because this individual clearly is being reckless. And that's what he's going to be judged
away
on.
At a slow speed. It wasn't like she was starting to go 100 miles per hour while drunk driving.
Even though she was going at a slow speed, as you claim, he still got internal damage from getting hit.
Okay, he got a bruise.
No, he got organ damage with his internals.
Internal bleeding is another word for a bruise. Bro.
Okay, all right. Let's go to her.
All right.
Let's go to her. Like, we're not gonna agree on that.
Take too much of your time.
I suggest, you know what? You should do some tactical training and let them put you in scenarios, because they've actually done this with civilians. They put them in a tactical situation, and every single time the civilians just pull the trigger when there's not a deadly threat. And it's actually hilarious to see people pull the trigger so quickly. Then they want law enforcement to be like, no, bro, just don't pull the trigger. Get out the way. But go ahead.
Okay, so I'm not going to waste too much of your time. First, thanks for gendering me properly. This does not look like a stove, so I'm not going to waste much of your time, so I can get back to
You said what? Gendering properly?
Yes, because these gentlemen asked, or I could hear them talking like, oh, is that a I'd be happy to say I was born intersex, and
Wait,
it's
what?
kind of pathetic.
Born
That
intersex?
Yes. That has nothing to do with this. I'm just addressing this for the record in front of everyone, how pathetic that is.
I think there's only two genders. I don't think intersex is a thing, but that's fine.
Okay, well, look at an actual, maybe graduate college level biology textbook, and you'll realize beyond high school biology.
Were you born with a dick?
Was I born with ovary parts? Yes.
Okay, so you're born with a dick. Okay, got it.
Okay, yes, but that's neither here nor there, and absolutely pathetic. Only thing I want
Two
to
genders.
address is that you had an officer who was shell-shocked, pretty much, several months before the shooting, who perhaps should not have been on the force, because any other officer who had not had that experience several months prior would not have pulled the trigger in that instance, I do not believe.
Well, okay, so it's interesting that you bring that up. Him being dragged 6 months prior actually lends strength.
No, it does
to
not,
the shooting.
because
Yeah,
because it increases your threshold, or rather lowers it for what you actually think is a threat. That's why you have hypervigilance in PTSD victims.
Okay.
So that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave. Go back to a kitchen.
Why do they always do this? Every time these They'll just, they'll give their point and then they'll just walk away. It's like, we don't want to debate. It's like, what's going on here? Yeah.
Okay.
You go over there. Don't. You got to back up. You got to back up. You got to back up. See, these people are crazy. I told y'all, man.
No.
Holy. Nuts.
I'm glad this is filmed. I cannot wait to see it later. The fact...
You're making yourself look crazy, but it's fine.
No, because you gender me properly over there when I come up and then I bring up the topic.
Yeah, I mean, when I
don't
looked, I
care.
saw long red hair. I
proud.
didn't know what it was. Now that you're talking more, and then whatever, like, I don't know what. You're a dude, man, or whatever you were born as, but you're a dude.
I will respect your right to say that uncensored, but also acknowledge that while this is aired, there will be a lot of people who think you sound absolutely ridiculous.
There's two
There'll be
genders.
people who don't, but
There's two genders. If you don't want to, accept reality, that's fine. But we weren't even talking about that.
No,
My thing is, I find it interesting how you go ahead and you give your statement of like, I'm
going to address how you started it by saying I should be in the kitchen, giving a female stereotype.
Well,
as soon as I bring it up to thank you of that, to mock the fact that, okay, this is also not an oven, and hearing people talk, is that a yes, I will bring it up because I'm not ashamed, because anyone with a brain who can read a textbook and realize, there is ambiguity in how sex is represented in bodies as they develop. So that is just moronic on your part.
Let me say this.
Leave because you don't have any education.
I did
on
misgender
that.
you, my bad. You should be in a garage, not a kitchen.
Okay, I'll find one. I'll go back to Randall and do that.
Yeah,
Thanks.
not a kitchen. You should be in a garage. So,
all right.
Seeing that right there, guys, is precisely why trans shouldn't be able to have guns. Fucking nuts. Absolutely nuts. But hey, it is what it is. What's up, man?
How you doing, Myron?
Hey, how are you?
I'm just curious, why do you think there's so many these blue-haired people on my campus?
So many what?
Of the blue-haired, confused people.
Oh, on your campus?
Yeah, up here.
Well, look, I went to Northeastern University in Boston, right? And we're a bit more progressive. So I kind of saw this happening when I was in college back in 2013. I'm showing my age here. And the problem is that college campuses are kind of like, you guys are insulated from the real world. So what ends up happening is you're able to kind of develop radically progressive ideologies that a lot of the times don't align with the real world. And one of two things happens when you graduate. You either keep that mentality and stay a retard, or you wake up and realize, holy shit, the real world doesn't operate on these progressive ideals. And even myself, I went to Northeastern. I lived in Boston for many years. I grew up in New England. So, I am very familiar with that, academia mindset where it's let's just be above moral, on our moral high grounds, and, progressivism is the way to go and everyone's equal. And, you get into the real world and you realize no, we aren't all equal. Men are better than women at everything pretty much, right? They just suck at everything. And it's just it is what it is. So when you get out there and you become an adult, you start to realize unfortunately, the real world doesn't align with what you're programmed to think in college. And the reason why people are able to think these things is because you kind of live in a fake world here where you go to a dorm and you can hang out and drink beer all day and smoke weed and not have to pay bills or whatever. You're able to kind of just chill. College is an acceptable way to spend 4 years being a degenerate, to be honest. You should be educating yourself, but you can also be a degenerate in the process and not deal with real world consequences versus if you were in the real world paying bills and having to work and shit.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
No worries, man.
What's going on?
What's up, man?
I want to ask you, what do you think about this looks maxing or this black pill?
Look maxing?
Yeah.
Looks maxing?
This
Well, this is a very interesting topic, and this is, I think, is something that doesn't get talked about enough. The reality for guys is women have more options than ever before. You got social media apps, you got dating apps, etc. So with that, women's standards have went up. A girl that would have been limited to her own geographic area of sexual access and mate selection in that area, now she has access to men on Instagram, men on dating apps, etc. So a guy that would have been qualified 20 years ago, now he's not, because she can get something better. And women, will take the best deal that they can get. They're hypergamous. So when it comes to looks maxing, every guy should focus on getting in the gym, keeping themselves clean, brushing their teeth, because a lot of guys are unkempt. So on top of having your money in order and everything else, you just got to be a well-rounded guy. You can't be an average guy anymore and get the dating and sex life you want. Being average is not going to work, because average women no longer want average men. They think that they deserve above average men, unfortunately. Exactly. And women are super entitled, and this is why we have the issues that we have now when it comes 100%. To young people and dating.
100%. All right, yeah, thank you.
No problem. Disagreements? Yeah, we got any other progressives that want to come on here or anything that have a disagreement with one of my viewpoints? Go ahead.
My question isn't necessarily pertaining to the ICE, which you came here to talk about, but so Myron, you've spoken about being turned away by Turning Point USA. I just wanted to know if that experience changed or reinforced.
That's not true.
It's not true?
Yeah, the Jew earlier was lying, but basically what happened was, and they always lie, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I didn't get turned away. What happened was, obviously, we all know Charlie Kirk was tragically shot and killed. When I was at AmFest, they obviously had security at a heightened level. My government name and my stage name are two different names. So when they saw because when you get a pass, it's under your government name.
Okay.
They saw my government name didn't match with Myron Gaines. They're like, what the hell? So that's where the confusion came from. But I had already been there. That footage that got shown,
Okay.
I had been there for hours already, right?
Okay.
And I got a bunch of witnesses that were there with me because we had a booth. So basically, they took the ID, double-checked everything, and they're like, oh, our mistake, man. And then I went back in.
So it's just misinformation.
It's a bunch of lies by idiots and haters. Never got kicked out, not once. I was there the whole time. Matter of fact, it's funny because the Let 'Em Cook hoodie that the Jew was complaining about earlier, like, I wore that the second day. So how would have I been kicked out while simultaneously wearing the hoodie and going viral?
All right, understood. I just wanted
Yeah, but he also implied that too.
clarification on
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
No worries. Because there was actually like a bunch of the Zionists that did that. Go ahead. Oh, okay.
What's going on, Myron? I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I know that you're Sudanese.
Yeah.
I know that you've been outspoken about the genocide in Sudan and everything that's going on. But I also know you've also talked very favorably about the UAE in the past and how great of a country it is. I know you've spent some time there. My question is, would you be willing, or do you hold the UAE accountable for backing the genocide in Sudan?
I've talked about it, that they're involved in the illicit gold trade, which is funding the conflict.
Okay.
They buy
for
a
sure.
lot of gold from Hemeti, the head of the RSF, and that's created a lot of problems.
So would you say, like, since all that has leaked, I feel like it's been the last couple of months, everyone's become aware to, like, UAE backing the genocide heavy and getting all their gold from Sudan, basically?
Yeah, when I talk about the UAE, I'd say that it's a very good, it's a very safe and clean country, right? Two things could be true. They have a safe and clean country, but at the same time, they're also funding that conflict, which, many other countries are too. There's unfortunately a lot of countries, we do it all the time. We back militias, we back violent groups, rebel groups, insurgencies. So it's just an ugly reality about geopolitical affairs, but two things can be true.
Okay.